Everyone is chasing the assets millionaires own. Nobody is talking about the assets millionaires refuse to touch. And that second list, the things they walk away from, the things they say no to, the things most people are buying right now, believing they are building wealth, that list is worth more than anything I could tell you to buy. Here is the financial belief most people carry without ever questioning it. More assets equals more wealth. Millionaires do not just choose wisely what to buy, they choose ruthlessly what not to buy. And today, you are getting that list. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 7 asset categories millionaires avoid, why each one destroys wealth instead of building it, and what they choose instead. We move from the most common trap to the most dangerous one. Each asset follows the same structure: what it looks like, why people buy it, why millionaires refuse it, and what they do instead. The 7th one is the one nobody expects, and it might be the most expensive mistake on this entire list. Let's get into it. Asset number 1: luxury goods positioned as status investments. The pitch is always the same: limited edition, appreciating value, smart money is buying this. Watches, designer handbags, collector sneakers, limited edition artwork from artists whose names will not matter in 5 years. Here is what millionaires understand that most people do not. The market for any luxury good that requires a buyer's belief in its ongoing status to maintain its value is not a market. It's a social consensus. And social consensuses collapse faster than any financial instrument ever will. The average luxury good depreciates the moment it leaves the primary market. The exceptions, the genuine collectibles that appreciate reliably, require specialist knowledge, authenticated storage, insurance, and a liquid buyer market that most people dramatically overestimate. Millionaires buy luxury items for enjoyment. They buy them consciously, deliberately, and with the full understanding that what they are paying is the price of an experience, not the price of an investment. They never confuse the two. What millionaires do instead, they buy experiences with discretionary money and assets with investment capital. The categories never overlap. Asset number 2: high-fee, actively managed investment funds. This one costs more people more wealth over longer periods of time than almost any other asset class on this list, and it does it invisibly, percentage point by percentage point, year after year. Here is the data that millionaires understand and most retail investors do not. Over any 15-year period, more than 90% of actively managed funds underperform their benchmark index, not occasionally, consistently, reliably, across every market condition studied. And they charge you 1 to 2% annually for that underperformance, which doesn't sound significant until you understand that a 1.5% annual fee on a $500,000 portfolio compounded over 30 years costs you approximately $400,000 in lost compound growth. That is not a fee. That is a wealth transfer from your account to theirs. Millionaires overwhelmingly use low-cost index funds, direct indexing, or institutional-grade separately managed accounts with transparent fee structures. They pay for performance. They never pay for the promise of performance. What millionaires do instead, they minimize fee drag ruthlessly. They understand that the return you keep is determined as much by what you don't pay as by what the market returns. Asset number 3: their primary home, counted as a wealth-building investment. This one is the most emotionally charged asset on this list and the most financially misunderstood. Your primary home is not an investment. It is a consumption asset. Every month, it takes money out of your pocket. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities. It does not put money in. And the inflation-adjusted real return on primary residential real estate over the long term is significantly lower than most homeowners believe, averaging approximately 1% per year in real terms when all carrying costs are factored. Millionaires own homes, often beautiful ones, but they account for them honestly, as lifestyle expenses, not as portfolio assets. They do not count their primary residence in their investment net worth. They do not borrow against it to fund speculative investments, and they do not allow the emotional attachment of homeownership to distort their understanding of what is actually generating their wealth. Their wealth comes from the assets alongside the home, not from the home itself. What millionaires do instead? They own homes for quality of life. They build wealth in income-generating assets that exist separately from where they sleep. Asset number 4, concentrated speculative single-stock positions. This is the asset that creates the most spectacular financial collapses in entrepreneurial wealth, and the one most entrepreneurs are most susceptible to, because the early wins feel like genius rather than luck. A single stock triples in 18 months. The entrepreneur doubles down. It triples again. Now 60% of their net worth is in one company. One earnings miss, one regulatory decision, one competitor announcement, one CEO resignation. Gone. The academic research on this is unambiguous. Concentrated single stock positions, even in objectively excellent companies, carry a standard deviation of returns that destroys the majority of investors who hold them without diversification. The ones who win are survivorship bias. The ones who lose are simply the majority who are not written about. Millionaires take profits. They diversify. They celebrate a winning position by using it to fund a diversified portfolio that cannot be destroyed by a single event. They understand that the goal is not to maximize the peak, it is to protect the floor. What millionaires do instead? They use concentrated winners to fund diversified positions. They never let one bet, however good, become the majority of what they've built. Asset number 5, business partnerships without proper legal architecture. This is the asset, or more accurately, the liability, that most people do not recognize as a financial mistake until the legal bills arrive. An informal business partnership is not an asset. It is a concentrated exposure to another person's decisions, judgment, financial behavior, personal circumstances, and life events, with no documented framework for how disagreements are resolved, how profits are distributed, how exits are executed, and how the business continues if one partner can't. Millionaires partner strategically and constantly, but every partnership is structured before the first dollar is invested. Operating agreements, buy-sell provisions, valuation methodology at exit, decision-making authority frameworks, non-compete clauses. These are not bureaucratic formalities. They are the architecture that determines whether a partnership builds wealth or destroys it when the inevitable disagreements arrive, because they always arrive. The question is whether you have a documented framework for resolving them or a lawsuit. What millionaires do instead, they never invest in a partnership without investing first in the legal structure that governs it. The documentation is not the overhead of the deal. It is the deal. Asset number 6, a lifestyle business built around the owner that cannot be sold. Most entrepreneurs spend the most productive decade of their professional lives building something they believe is an asset, only to discover at exit that the market disagrees entirely. A lifestyle business is one that exists primarily to fund the lifestyle of its owner. It generates income. It may generate significant income, but it has no systems that function independently of the founder, no recurring revenue that survives the founder's departure, no customer relationships that are owned by the business rather than the individual, and no intellectual property that could command a valuation multiple. A buyer looking at this business sees one thing: key man risk. And key man risk discounts business value by 30 to 70% at exit. Sometimes it makes the business completely unsellable. Millionaires build businesses with exit in mind from the beginning, not as an afterthought when they are ready to sell. They document processes. They build recurring revenue. They transfer relationships from the founder to the organization. They build the thing that buyers pay multiples for, and they start building it on day one. What millionaires do instead? They build businesses that are worth something to someone who is not them. The test is simple. If you could not explain the value of your business to a buyer in 30 minutes, you are not building an asset. You are building a job. Asset number 7, any financial product they cannot fully explain. This is the one nobody expects to be last, and it is the most important one on this list. Structured products, complex annuities, variable universal life insurance pitched as an investment vehicle, crypto derivatives, leveraged ETFs held as long-term positions, alternative investment funds with lockup periods and opaque fee structures. Every one of these products has destroyed the wealth of intelligent, successful, financially capable people, not because the products are inherently fraudulent, but because the people holding them did not understand the mechanism by which they were supposed to generate returns, the conditions under which they would fail, or the fees being extracted throughout the holding period. Warren Buffett has stated this principle more plainly than anyone. Never invest in a business or a product you cannot understand. Not because complexity is always a trap, but because complexity you do not understand is always a risk you cannot measure, and risk you cannot manage cannot be managed. Millionaires ask one question before every financial commitment. Can I explain exactly how this makes me money and exactly how this can lose me money in plain language? If the answer is no, they walk away, every time. This is the difference between looking sophisticated and being protected. What millionaires do instead? They maintain a permanent standard. If they cannot explain it simply, they don't own it. Simplicity is not unsophisticated. It is the highest form of financial discipline. Millionaires are not just better at choosing what to buy. They are better at choosing what to refuse. Their wealth is not just the result of their best decisions. It is the result of all the bad decisions they never made, all the traps they walked past, all the pitches they said no to, all the assets that looked impressive but functioned as liabilities. The protection of wealth is as important as the creation of it, and the discipline to refuse is as valuable as the wisdom to invest. The 7 assets millionaires never touch. Take that list. Look at your own balance sheet and ask one honest question for every single thing you hold. Do I own this because it genuinely builds wealth, or do I own it because it feels like wealth? That single audit, done honestly, is worth more than any financial advisor, any investment strategy, or any course you will ever buy. Do it today. Drop in the comments, which of these 7 surprised you most? That answer tells you exactly where to start. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.